My name is Jay Dallas Benson. I was born and bred in Cincinnati. Been here all my life, with a very small exception amount of time where I was in California. Been performing in one way or another, either in musicals or singing groups or plays or comedies or something, since I was about 10. So this kind of comes naturally to me. In this show, I will be playing Andrei Botvinnik. He is the Russian diplomat to the peace conferences in Geneva, Switzerland.
And my name's Ryan J. Poole. I grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah, moved to Cincinnati about just over 5 years ago. Been fortunate enough to find an amazing arts community here. I've been a stage actor for more than 30 years. I'm really excited to be back at Falcon. I get to play the American diplomat, John Honeyman, and really excited to bring this to the stage. Boy, for me, I don't know about you, but the challenge of bringing something to life that is, in the end, it's two guys talking, you know?
Yeah.
There's an implicit sort of expectation of there being some exposition, and we find out a little bit about these guys, and they talk about themselves and why they're there, and through that really basic relationship, it's two guys talking. We're taught a lot about what went on during the height of the Cold War, and also really how it still applies today. A lot of the same themes, a lot of the same problems, a lot of the same issues we're still having to deal with. And the challenge of making that hit and stick with some force and some empathy to an audience in this format is really intriguing and challenging for my money.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing I don't know if it's challenging or if it's the most fun to me is kind of parsing out the chess match that is their relationship. Is, things seem casual and aren't. Things seem very, very serious and are only being used as a manipulation or as a chess move to force another move. And kind of piecing that all together, I think, has been really fun and challenging. But that's what I've loved.
Looking at it today, if you look through the lens of what's going on in the Ukraine right now, there's a lot of parallels, I find, just in the way that the stories are being told. We in America are seeing it through the eyes of the media. Maybe it's social media, maybe it's Twitter, network broadcasting, whatever it is. And even in that, I'm sure a very surface level connection, there are stories, there are layers. There are things to be understood on both sides of this conflict. Whatever side you agree with, whatever your politics are, there are stories. And I think this story is layered in that way. It's so easy to say, oh, this is like an onion, right? We got to peel back these layers of these two men. But it's true. And I love what you said earlier about it being a chess match. There are moves upon moves upon moves, and we can't always see what's next, what's 10 moves ahead, 20 moves ahead. And as a very tangential observer to what's going on in the world right now, in Russia and in Ukraine, I feel the same way. There's so much to it. You obviously feel for the people. You want right to be done. You want correct things to be done. But how do we start? How do we connect? And why is this still happening? And this play, I think, brings that to the surface, in a way that connects and is really digestible and creates conversation and sparks new ideas about the conflict.
Yeah, and it's such a well-written play, and I think it really is touching base on on a number of universal themes. Probably the biggest is just the need for self-preservation and for everyone's desire to be the best and to not in any way, shape, or form seem like you're weak or susceptible to dominance. And say what you like, I think that's part of the human condition. It's not a great way to be, and that has continued since the Cold War, quote unquote, ended and the fall of the Soviet Union. But it didn't really fall, it just changed shape. Sure. It changed leaders. I mean, we've had the same guy in power since the fall, so.
The president, as they say. Yeah, right.
So I think it's a wonderful way of kind of underlining what's going on now and reminding us that it's no different. And you have a number of great lines simply about hope, about how optimism cannot be a choice anymore. It has to be reality. And those are great. Those are wonderfully inspiring lines.
Yeah. I think along that same track, I think of Honeyman's character and he has a speech about what happens if we fail here in this negotiation. And at this point in the Cold War,
Right.
we're talking about reducing nuclear arms in the superpowers. And if it fails, if it goes the other way, we keep building up, and the presumption is that we just attack each other sometime. That some computer somewhere gets ticked off at some other computer, and all of a sudden we're
gone.
Yeah, we're gone, and everything is gone. His line is, we lose it all. We lose everything, and there won't be anyone to feel or breathe or do anything because there won't be anyone left, and there won't even be a here. And that really lands for me. I really like Andre's speech about his Honeyman's predecessor. He has a line about changing positions. They're talking about the negotiation, and the previous negotiator to you, Mr. McIntyre, he changed position. He never changed his position, and Honeyman says, "Well, yes, the American position changed," and Andre says, "No, his position never changed. He never moved. He never leaned. They never became friends, and it always bothered him." And I love how Andre, and it's juxtaposed from where you think, especially in the 80s.
Yeah.
It places the Russian as the sort of hero of that moment of saying, God, I wish we could have had a more human connection. I wish we could have been friends. I wish we'd had this different relationship. And that right away was one of the things that hooked me was,
Yeah.
oh, this is not your typical villain. This is not your typical, Russian behind the block kind of thing. The author's setting you up to teach you something, or at
Yeah.
least have you ask questions.
Well, the play does a great job of humanizing this conflict because it boils down to these two people, and they are human, and they have very different backgrounds and very different outlooks that over the course of the play are kind of merged a little closer together.
We really hope you'll join us. It's a really timely story and a beautiful one too. A Pulitzer Prize finalist. We're excited to bring it to you. Also excited to let you know that a portion of our ticket sales, as well as any donations we can collect, will be sent to the United Nations World Food Program to help that terrible conflict going on in the Ukraine. We hope you'll join us.